Bed. Love.
Bed.
Bed.
Love. Beyond.
Bed, love, beyond. Bed, love, beyond. Welcome to Bed, Love, Beyond, the podcast for the hopeful and the hater in us to discuss sex, love, relationship, and whatever's clever with like-minded people like you who are also in limbo with love like us. I'm Jennifer.
I'm Miss April.
And we have a very special guest. This is episode 151, Tempted to Touch. How to resist the cheating temptation in a long-term relationship with the rock god of podcasting, Charles Mcfall. He is back.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Charles. What's going on?
Thank you. It's good to be back. I felt like ever since Martini left, y'all been holding up the fort quite well.
Thank
when
you.
I saw that email, I was like, hell yeah, I'll come back and talk to you ladies. Be awesome.
Yeah, it's been, I think, about a year since we've been in contact, and it's been almost a year since Martini's been gone. I think Martini finished on June 1st, or the end of June.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's coming to
right.
about a year that April's been with us, and full-time, and we haven't talked to you in about a year, so what's been going on with you? How's the wife,
I was
the
just sitting
kids?
here waiting for your phone call, all sad and alone.
I knew it.
Man, Giant Size Team Up Network has really, really grown and blown up on Twitch, and I host a bunch of different shows. I run that network with my partners Paul Thoughts and Phil Keating and Chris Wisdom, and that's a fandom. So if you're into any kind of geekery like Dungeons and Dragons or your Marvel Endgame or toy collection, I mean, we've got shows for everybody over there.
Oh, that's cool.
That's into the fandom. So that's giantsizeteamup.com. And I got, as we were talking before the show, I got to meet Martini in real life last year.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I saw like a little video you guys posted because you were big on the IGTV network. Yeah.
That's hard. It gets hard to do a video every day. And when he came, I was in the phase building up the Dragon Con, doing a video every day. And, honestly, it was hard. This affects you ladies as well. You're creators. You put out a great product, and you want that feedback. I mean, it's one thing to look at numbers, right? Certain people are watching things and downloading things, but to have somebody say what you did was awesome is very important.
Right.
And on IGTV, I just wasn't really getting a whole lot of feedback. So I thought, well, nobody cares. And then I stopped doing it, and some people have referenced it. Well, oh, okay. Maybe I should do it again. I don't know.
Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to take a longer hiatus. We took like a little break for like our vacation and stuff. But I mean, our numbers, we're still getting like downloads, but we still run into that like thing where like no one really writes in. We had a texter who was asking us about if his dick size was appropriate or not.
Was it appropriate?
I don't know. He was like,
Okay.
I feel like he was like, fabricating the numbers to make himself feel better. But like every time we told him like he was okay, he was like, well, it's really not that big. And, we tried to tell him it's about the motion in the ocean. But, hopefully he's off using it appropriately.
If that's what you're worried about in life, you're on the wrong track, buddy.
Right. So, I mean, other than that was fun while it lasted. But we're trying to keep, like, new and interesting topics coming and stuff. But you're right, it is hard to put out, like, new and exciting content. And then when nobody writes back to you, you're like, what's happening? So how is your family? I know you said, were you going to Disney last time? Why do I feel like you were going to Disney?
Yeah, we went to Disney last summer.
I was like, damn, why do I feel like you went to Disney?
Here's the slideshow right here. This is the kid. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, we try to do that every so often. It looks to be about 5 to 6 years in between the times that we get to go. And it was the first time for the two little ones going, and they loved it. So it was a great family experience.
Did you have to sell a kidney for Disney tickets? Did you have to sell a kidney for Disney tickets? Because I heard their prices are blowing up.
They are not cheap.
Yeah.
I had to kill my mother-in-law for Disney tickets.
R.I.P.
You just have to save up and plan for it, and it's a commitment. I mean, it takes about, in our experience, it takes a good year. You go, okay, and we like this time this year, we go, okay, next summer we want to go to Disney. So how do we get there? We start pricing out tickets and pricing out places to stay. Airbnb, by the way, Airbnb is the way to go.
Really?
We stayed in this amazing. So I've got 4 kids and my wife, and we stayed in this amazing condo that had a room for the 2 boys, a room for the 2 girls, and a master bedroom. And I think we paid less than $100 a night.
Oh, perfect.
Wow, not bad. Not bad at all.
Was there like a pool
and that was
stuff?
in the summertime. I mean, that was mid-June sometime, because that's when the kids got out of school. And man, I hate public school because you have to live on the schedule everybody else in the world lives on, as opposed to homeschooling or private school. So, it was not bad at all. It was a great experience, and actually, I never thought I'd like it.
Disney or Airbnb?
Kids. But yeah, but there's so much for adults. It is so fun.
Disney.
I mean, you'll find something, and they sell beer everywhere, so you'll absolutely find something to enjoy. Yeah, that was a blast. I came back and got ready for Dragon Con in September. Late August or September. I run the podcast, or it's the digital media track now at Dragon Con, and that was a busy 5 days. Got to meet Charles Mcfall and a bunch of other people. It's a real good experience. If you ladies ever get a chance to come to Georgia during Labor Day weekend, I highly recommend you come. And we'll give you a show. We'll let you do Battle Up Beyond live
Nice.
if you wanted to there.
Wow.
What is there to do in Georgia?
I got to meet Matthew Lewis, who played Neville Longbottom in Harry Potter last year at Atlanta Comic-Con. I was moderating his panel. So I got to sit and ask him questions for an hour, and that was a lot of fun.
That's fun.
Just always doing something fun. And then today, I was supposed to be here 30 minutes earlier than I was, and I got behind because we just finished setting up at the day job. We just finally got to a point where we built a studio, and I get to build that out and do media all the time and get paid for it. So that was, we were finishing some touches on the studio, and I went in the other room, which I never leave my phone in the other room because that's dumb. And I went to the other room, looked at time, oh crap, I gotta go. And so I messaged like, yeah, it's gonna be like 7. Sorry.
Well, we're glad to have you anyway. It's okay. We were kind of just catching up on the Vanity Fair Met Gala pictures, trying to check out everyone's awkward outfits. So.
But that's not the same as y'all doing the weekly dish on whatever
Our daily dish.
romantic brain squeeze that you guys are watching that week.
Yeah, I mean, there's some shows that are coming up now, but I'm starting to get a little sick of them just because, the one that we watched a lot was the Married at First Sight, and it just kind of seems like they're never gonna get it right, and now they're just ruining all these poor people's lives. So I don't know. It's just sad to watch at this point.
Yeah, some of that can definitely go that way. There's shows like that in every industry out there, and it's just, you just kind of bounce. My wife loves the Real Housewives of Fill in the Blank, and she just likes watching the train wrecks. But after a while of binging it, she's like, kind of losing my taste for humanity. I need to watch something else.
Yeah, sometimes you wonder what's scripted and what is really the level of ratchetness of these people. And you're just like, why? Why any of this? Where is your moral compass? I don't get it. So, speaking of ratchet shows, which will help lead us into our lovely topic, I was sending April an article today that I don't know that you watch it, but Love and Hip Hop of New York. The rapper Joe Buttons has been dating Sin Santana, and they had this beautiful little baby together. The baby's the cutest goddamn baby I've ever seen in my life. No offense to Kai, he's adorable too, but this baby's so cute. I'm like, where did he come from? Apparently her uterus. But
That typically is how that works.
Yeah,
yes.
Sometimes. I mean, but they seemed he seemed like he was maturing, and she seemed like she knew how to reel him in. But they just said that he recently was in Miami with some other woman, and they're not on a break, they're broken up. Well, what did he say? He's like, oh, we're not broken up. Or
yeah, he
her phone's been dead for a week.
Nobody said it's over. She moved out.
Yeah.
Her phone's dead. He hasn't spoken to her in 3 weeks, but neither one of them said the words. So is it technically official if neither one of us has said anything?
And that will play into what we're going to talk about today, about staying faithful and cheating and communication's a whole lot harder. And on that topic right there, my 2 cents is y'all got to talk. And just because you haven't talked for 3 weeks, that's not. Come on, man. Y'all got to step up. Say if you want out, say I'm out. You know.
Right.
I'm not
Especially when there's a
encouraging
little baby
anybody
involved.
leaving anybody else, but you don't go off with some other chick just because your baby mama hadn't talked to you in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, and on the show, she was like kind of complaining because they weren't having sex a lot, and like she just had a baby and she wasn't feeling sexy, and like she felt like he was like becoming like an old man. Like there's like probably a 20-year age difference, and she was kind of like complaining that like they weren't having sex and that was a thing. But it's like if you weren't having sex with your like soon to be wife. And then you went off and had sex with some other random hoe. Like, that doesn't make you a good person, my friend. Like, I don't know. But, I mean, they're not married. But I do think that the importance of, like, staying faithful is important. Because, I mean, nowadays, people are, like, waiting longer to get married. And then when they are married, I don't know. Sometimes you hear, like, this person cheated, that person cheated. The guy at work thought I was cute. Or whatever the case is. So I know this is something you wanted to speak on as well.
Yeah. So I want to ask some questions of you. I know, Jen, that you're not married because that's been an ongoing saga on the show.
Nope, still not married, still unengaged. That's the update.
Yeah.
But
and I get, I know you've talked about it, and I think we've actually talked about it the last time maybe I was on, but
right.
I mean, I get that he's deep-rooted issue, whatever. I'm glad he's talking to somebody about it because I was going to come on this, I was like, look, if he's still just giving the rote answer of, oh, nobody in my family, man, it's like, bitch, please. I'm sure everybody in your family died at different ages. That don't mean shit, But I'm glad that y'all are working your stuff out. But Miss April, are you married? I know you got a beautiful kid, according to Jen, who just
not
was a great
yet.
episode, by the way, when he distracted the crap out of you guys. That was awesome. He was crazy cool.
That was real.
What's your situation?
Not married yet, but we do live together. We have the kid and we live together, but not married yet.
How long y'all been together?
This is year 6.
Damn. Look at you.
And that's the thing. Marriage really is just a legal documentation for tax purposes and other rights and shit. It's not a big deal. Because 6 years together, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
are you guys at common law yet? I don't think we have common law in New Jersey.
No, we don't have that in New Jersey.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want half.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, I've been married. God, I always get it wrong, so I always say too long. Because here's the thing with my marriage, and people still to this day will say, "Man, did y'all just get married this year? You act like newlyweds." Like, no, that's just who we are. And I say we've been married together, or we've been together forever. I think the actual number is 18 years.
Damn.
We've been together.
Wow.
We got together in 1999. No, we got together in 2000. And got married in 2001. And that was just, I mean, I'm in the South, so there's a different culture. I mean, I was raised that marriage was ever. I was raised in church, all this other jazz. But I've come to realize, it really was about us being together. And we both were of the mindset of, that's who we are. We want to be married. But I don't look down on anybody who's not married because you can be, people go, oh, you're not married? Well, they've been together longer than you have, asshat, just because they didn't go to the courthouse or to a preacher or anywhere else to make it legal.
Right.
But that whole idea, like you're talking about, you're not having sex with your soon-to-be wife, and then you go off. That dude was not in the relationship.
Right.
And that's just, and when you talk about that breaking that trust, that's the only thing we have as human beings to rely on is we build up relationships and we trust each other. And when you can't do that, you've got nothing. And that's a huge problem.
Yeah, I don't know that all the communication in the world will fix that immediately. Definitely not immediately, but.
And Joe Budden, too, being like a former addict, and he has very self-destructive behavior. Like, that's kind of who he is.
Right.
Too. Like, he just seems like this is going a little too well. Let me ruin it type of person.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's that borderline shit.
Yeah.
The marriage won't fix that, right? Marriage, you just get a divorce or you don't get a divorce. Oh, that's the worst stories, right? Is the people who didn't get divorced, even though they'd separated for 20 years, and they never actually got divorced. It's like, he ain't coming back, or she ain't coming back. What are you hoping for here, puppet? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of, like, I work with families, and, like, sometimes they'll be going through all this, like, hardship, and, like, he's doing this and he's doing that, and I don't trust him, and I feel insecure about this, but I can't talk to him. And it's like, if you feel that strongly about all these things, like, your happiness sometimes has to, like, be weighed with, like, your children's happiness. Because not that the children shouldn't be happy. In my opinion, I feel like they'll always have a father, but if the father is making you miserable and, like, being, like, emotionally abusive to you, then you kind of have to weigh that. Because if you're miserable, but the kids are just happy that daddy's in the house, one day they're not going to care if you or daddy is in the house. And you're still going to be miserable.
And they're going to see the misery. Kids are really smart. They can see it. They'll see the unhappiness.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So the big takeaway from this episode is just get the fuck out of your marriage. Nobody wants it. And, right? That's no, but you're right. You're right. This crap of, and this is not actually what we're talking about. We're talking about staying faithful for long-term relationships. But that's the thing. Real quick, I'm pretty sure I told it on one of the previous episodes, but the real early story is, the first 2 or 3 years of the marriage that this is my first wife, right? I call her my first wife. She gets mad about that, but then we're both each other's first for everything, and we stayed married. But the first couple of years of that learning to cohabitate and bringing our baggage, because we both had damage in our backgrounds and this and that and the other, we had some horrendous fights. We had some really great highs and some really horrible lows. Mm-hmm. And we got to a point one night where we just been fighting we started like 8, 9 o'clock that evening. At one point we thought the fight was over around midnight, turned off all the lights. Then it just fired back up, and for 3 more hours we fought in the dark, screaming at each other. And we just burned out all the energy. And we got to that point, and I credit her with this because I believe she's a better person than I am.
I feel like you've said that before. We're not sure who
actually said it, but we know we both came to that same point of, what do we do now? And I think I might have asked, what do we do now? Because I was so holding on to her, I was so afraid she was going to leave me, I was pushing her away. That self-destructive behavior, right, when you're fearful of things. And that's one of the things. I'll go ahead. As a Southern Baptist preacher, which I am not, so point number one. Point number one is if you're afraid of something, all you're doing is focusing on, oh my God, if this happens, it'll be the end of the world. That is all you're driving to. And that is what I was doing then, was I was so afraid she was going to leave me. I was just
pushing her towards
emotionally abusive. I mean, I was just gaslighting her, and unintentionally. I had to look this up. When somebody told me I was gaslighting them, I didn't know what that meant. But and you guys, you ladies, guys is a colloquialism, right? It's not a
I don't take offense
sex
to it.
gender thing. Use guys. I'm sorry, I should say use guys, and then you get it. I get it. Okay. So use guys. You were talking about on a show recently about what gaslighting is, and it's that idea. And typically, I think it is male to female, but it can be human to human. It can be any gender to any gender. But it's where you say something, and then I turn around, and the way I phrase it back to you of what you said does make you think you're at fault. It makes you feel like you're crazy. And I think it comes from the old days of when lamps were lit by gas and how they flicker. Psychics would rig pedals to the lines so that when ghosts came in, they could kind of flicker the gas, and you'd believe what was going on. That's gaslighting. And I would do that to her unintentionally, and I just take what she was saying, but I'd filter it through what I wanted her to hear, and I filtered it through all my damage. I'd put it back on her, and I'd make her feel crazy. So anyway, we said, what now? And I'd gotten to the point, talking about being fearful of losing her, I'd gotten to the point where I said, I didn't say it out loud because I wasn't going to say it out loud, but if she needs to leave, and so because I truly love her, and I see that I'm damaging her, and I don't know why I'm doing this, and I can't do this anymore. I have to stop this. And she said, when I asked what we do now, she said, I don't know, but we have to do something. We can't keep doing this. This is horrible. But out there is worse.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I needed to hear to be free to fix my shit.
That is the truth.
So
I say the same thing. Like, what we gonna leave each other and go to who?
Go
like
to
somebody we don't know that's gonna be worse off than you think I am and I think you are.
Right.
You know. Yeah. The dating game is horrible.
Yeah, and I do want to put a caveat that I know you'll agree with is, honestly, if you're in an abusive relationship, if you're in something where you have to make up the good, you need to get out, especially if it's domestic abuse. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about relationships are worth fighting for, fighting in.
Right, I agree with that.
And, yeah, good.
No, I definitely agree with what you're saying. Like, we're not saying, like, if you're getting your ass beat or being, like...
Or somebody calling you stupid
every day. Yeah, like, that you should stick around and hang out for that. But some things are just, like, you guys just aren't clicking on certain levels. Or, you know, some people are, like, maturing a little slower than others. Like, those things you have to work at and you have to fight for. And you have to communicate and you have to say, when you do this, it upsets me because... And that person has to actually hear you and say, okay, how can I possibly stop doing this behavior so that we don't run into this conflict anymore? Or why do I do this behavior? So...
Well, you have to establish baselines, right? You have to establish that where are we starting from? Okay. And that's what that did for us was out there is worse. So the baseline is we're better together.
Right.
You know, because as human beings, you got to let your mind go. And we're going to talk about cheating. We're talking about all that stuff. Because I've considered it. I've run my mind through all the options of what could happen, what possibly might come, blah, 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 blah. And so many people are afraid to even think about what happens if I need to leave. No, you got to think about that. You have to. You have to think about the plot so you know what you have.
Right.
So you know, or what you don't have. And I don't know if this is just me being male stereotype. I honestly don't know where this story comes from, so pardon me. You know, my heart is everybody needs help sometimes, right? Right. But sometimes you see the ladies in the bad situations where they got married because she got knocked up, or the guy's some kind of emotionally abusive, or just he's not in love with her, and you have to find out, are we in love? And that's what, in a very hard and ugly, difficult, nasty way, that's exactly where we came to, was, no, you are, I told her, you're my world. I mean, if you left, my world would end. Not that I'm threatening to kill myself. That's not what I did at all. But I could see zero future without you. Mm-hmm. And she was the same way. Okay, now we have our baseline. We are in love. We have to fix all the other crap that doesn't matter.
Right.
To what this is. And it's taken a while. It got there. And that's what you're saying. And I tell you, using those phrases of, okay, what I'm hearing you say is this, and you got to get to a point where you're calm and you can discuss it like business. And people hate to think about that. My marriage is not business. No, everything in life is business.
No, it should be like a business or like a courtroom or like something, because the most annoying thing, it was like when someone says, you said this, I'm like, holy shit, I didn't even say that. Like, I'm really sorry that's what you heard, but that's not what I said.
It's almost like you have to condition yourself to, and some people don't want to admit to any wrong doing. But if you know you're not a good listener, like that's one, you have to try to become a good listener, because people who are hearing you say something 180 degrees different than what you meant, they're not listening. That's usually what that comes down to. And they, or like you said, they're filtering through all their own baggage, and they're hearing what they want to hear and then putting it back to you like, this is what you said. And you're like, I didn't say, where the hell you get that from? But that's what's in their mind already. So when they hear it, they're already hearing what they're telling themselves. And
exactly. And that's blame versus working things out.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And people have to stop, if you're communicating with somebody, when people get defensive, it makes everything shut down. Yeah. Because it's like, this is about to get ugly. You're getting defensive. It's not what I said. And it just makes people shut down. But you honestly have to slug it out. Like you said, not physically, but till you're mentally drained. And you're like, we have to come to a conclusion, because everybody's going to come with some kind of baggage, but you're either going to,
and not just one of those, fine, you're right, we'll do whatever you want.
Right.
Because I hate when
solves nothing.
No,
you still mad.
Now I'm even more.
It's
I'm
worse.
even more pissed now.
Right.
Like, don't fucking know. Like, you know what?
Yes.
Leave the house then, because I am gonna stab you. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't want to be right. I just want to be heard. Like, I'm not looking to be right.
Now, people, did you hear what she said? Because it took me forever to understand that concept. I just want to be heard. And I was the same way. I tell stories over and over, and ultimately, I did get down to when we could, in some of our fights, right? And because the fights did not stop that night. In fact, they still go on to a point. I think we've got it down to once a year. Then we'll snip and snap at each other a little bit when we're tired or things are going wrong, or when we're not talking. We have that breakdown of communication. The fight starts to build up. But every once in a while, we'll get into a big ugly one, and then we'll work it out. But that was the thing. I got down to where you have to be brutally honest. Without being brutally honest with somebody, where are you going to go?
Right.
You know, you think I love you. I think you love me. You know, you go on assumptions. Well, going back to DJ Baby Beans or whatever his name was, I don't remember now.
Oh, Joe Budden's.
You know,
DJ
you're
Baby.
complaining to his face that you're not having sex, and then he goes off. Well, you were brutally honest. This is what I want, and you didn't get it. There's your sign. You know,
right.
Not to be, making fun of it, but I know people tell you who they are, and my wife and I were brutally honest with each other. And when you do that, when you change it, I think, and I'm really bad about this. I always give credit to the wrong person, so just take credit where credit's due. Sorry, because I know one of you just said it. I think it was Miss April. Damn it, it's probably Jen because I gave her wrong credit. I'm sure I gave her wrong credit now. But when you want to be heard, right? So when you say, "This is what I heard you say," and you do it in a calm manner, that lets the other person go, "Okay, that's not what I meant. Let me try something different." And that's the thing. I honestly do not know which motivational speaker said this, but it's on us as communicators. It's on you, Jen, when you're in a fight or in a relationship. It's on you, April, and you, the listener, is when you want something and you're saying to your, in this case, your husband, wife, spouse, significant other, whoever's in your life, that you say something, you get this blow-up reaction, and you're like, that's not what typically we feel bad. We shut down. We might automatically get defensive because we hurt you somehow. The proverbial you, it's all us doing to the you. And then the fight ensues. But if you understand, it's like, that's not what I meant. You learn to change what you say. And I still do that. I'll say something that I think is going to be funny, and my wife will get mad at me, and I'm like,
whoops.
Okay, sorry, that's not what I meant. What happened there? And I can do that now. And we've been together 18 years. It took a while. And hopefully it won't take you, the listeners, or you, Jen, or hopefully, and actually listening to the show, you ladies are far more understanding of what a relationship is than I was for a very long time. So you seem to be ahead of the game there.
So now that you guys have been together for...
Listen.
Now that you guys have been together for 18 years, you've managed to figure out the whole communication thing. Now comes...
Most.
Well, you're working on it. You're better than most.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are like, communication? Is that a major in college? What is that? Like, what's happening?
It's like, have I told you my stance on Valentine's Day, Jen?
I don't know. Maybe, but do tell.
Valentine's Day is the dumbest shit in the world. It is 1,000% for money or bad relationships. And here's why. And I feel bad for you. If that's all you get yours. But it's because you're in a relationship.
If that's all you get yours. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because sometimes all right, yeah, stuff. Here we go. My wife and I were dating. We both did the big Valentine's because that's what we were supposed to do, and we loved it. And then right afterwards, we were literally, like the next day, we went, "That's a lot of candy. That's cool that you got. I love that you thought of me, but." Like this stuffed animal. I'll probably keep it forever. It's the first thing you gave me on those lines, but really, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I mean, as we're building a life together, what is it going to do? And we both realized in there, we only did Valentine's Day because that's what we were told we were supposed to do.
Right.
Because before and ever since then, it's In fact, she won't listen to this for a while if she ever listens to it. I mean, usually if I download it, she'll listen to it. And this won't go out for a little bit, so I can go ahead and tell you because it'll be here before the show airs. That the other day, I was just surfing a website called Think Geek. And my wife is not a geek. I'm the geek in the family, but she likes some things. She loves the movie The Labyrinth. And she loves that stupid little worm in The Labyrinth. I call it stupid because he's only on the screen for like a minute.
I think I know what you're talking about. He's one of the coolest
little characters in the whole movie. And a little while back, they came out with the Funko Pops. I got her the Sarah, which is the girl character Funko Pop, because it came with a little worm.
Uh-huh.
So the other day, I'm on this website, and for $40, they have a full-size replica of the wall that he stands on and him. So it's going to be, like the size of your iPhone type of statue for it. And I'm like, done. I just bought it because I'd never seen anything like that.
Right.
And her birthday was way back in March. Our anniversary is way back in January. Christmas is so far. We don't need a reason. I went,
right.
That's going to make you smile. That's awesome. It means something to you. And I do it. And that's why I hate Valentine's Day, because so many people get lazy and they don't take care of their significant other all the time. And then you pay outrageous, stupid prices and you go out on the busiest damn night of the year and maybe you get a hotel room because that's what you're supposed to do. And I don't know, man. Take care of your significant other all the time. And you won't have to worry about crowds. And then you can just go to the after Valentine's Day sale and get you some discount candy.
Right. The day after.
Did I even go out for Valentine's Day? Yeah, I think I did. But I think we only went out because it was Wednesday and the Indian place has a buffet on Wednesday night. And
that's fair.
And we just ate
side
and split the bill and went home.
It was like, might as well.
Right. Like, I really been wanting that buffet. So.
We went once to a neighborhood spot that's not popular. It ended up closing down, but they had delicious food, and it's like this place in the middle of the neighborhood that nobody knows about.
Right.
And it was cute, and it had we went, but I'm not going anywhere standing for 2 hours because you're right. It's like we eat out all the time.
Right.
We go to restaurants all the time. We buy each other stuff all the time. What does February 14th mean? We do this all year.
There you go.
You're right. It's for the people who don't do it all year, and for the people who say, well, when Valentine's Day or birthday or Christmas, I'll do something special. Other than that, no.
As a people watcher, though, I like to go out and watch people who if it's their first Valentine's or that either he bought her or she's the side chick. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I like trying to mentally check those things.
Day is the 13th.
I was like. Like, it was 11 o'clock at night once at a Houlihan's, and this guy brings this girl in, and she's in a dress. I was like, why the fuck are y'all eating Houlihan's? Like, I was moving, and we we got there late, a bunch of us who were helping me move, and then I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But let's try to reel this in back on topic. So you guys have been together for 18 years, and have you ever been tempted?
No, I have. So here's the interesting thing. I do try to pay attention to my life. And at the time that I was a full-time paramedic, I was working 24 hours on, 48 hours off, wasn't being able to pay my bills, tons of stress, tons of things, wasn't happy at home. I mean, there's fights because of the other not being able to pay the bills and stress and all this other stuff. And I worked with a lot of female partners. I had plenty of opportunity. And what I loved about myself, and this is how I knew I had to fix all my stuff at home, because the moment I got unhappy at home, the rest of the world just shut down. And I didn't even notice anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. I was short with people. I did my job, but until things got fixed at home. Then when things are happy at home, then I'm the guy you see like today. Here, I'm bouncing around and saying something, and all good. So in the sense of, you know what? I'll take that back. There was one time where I was working with this female, and I think I was going to her house to fix something computer-wise for her, and she was married, and I was married, and I don't know, I just had this thought. Your brain goes through things like, I don't know, could I, would I? And then the second I get in, I mean, it's not like she offered or anything, but the second I get in the house, you see a wedding photo, I was like, nope, I'm good,
Right.
So it wasn't like, God, I wish I could, sleep with somebody. Because my thing is, I need this to be right. until it's not right anymore. Cheating is for people who are too weak or lazy or just stuck in their stubbornness and dumbass ways to talk to their significant other. It's science has actually proven cheating is not about the sex. I grant you, sure, if you haven't got laid in a year and you're drunk and some girl just puts it on you, or some guy, however you flow, it doesn't matter. Somebody puts it on you. Hopefully a human being, because otherwise that's illegal.
Alien probing. I don't
know. Then accidents, whatever. But in that year, why aren't you working on this? Why aren't you facing it? Why aren't you saying, how come we're not having sex? What's wrong? Because there's something else wrong in the marriage or the relationship. There's issues there. And I'll get to what I thought about. I know y'all have some say on that. What do you think about, cheating is not about the lack of sex. It's about other issues that you don't want to deal with.
I agree with that. I think for women, it's definitely not about sex. I think it's more about the attention or like something's lacking. And it's hard for me to speak about other women because most of the women I know are like very alpha and will have zero fucking problem saying, dude, what the hell is going on? But I know that there are women who are like, I don't know if I should say anything to him and like blah, 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 blah. And like, I'm 40 now. So like maybe like in my like mid 20s, early 30s, there might have been like more situations where, we were a little bit more like fluid and like girls would be like, oh, fuck it. This isn't a serious relationship. They weren't necessarily looking for marriage. And they might just be like, oh, fuck it. I'm not calling him tonight. I'm just going to go out with this guy or that guy. But like once women.
And that's an indication that something else wrong. And this is a speech I plan. I've given some of this to my children. My oldest is 14 and my youngest is 6. So they've gotten different variations of relationship talks and sex talks, whatever. But I plan on that day. At some point in life, you always, as you grow up, you turn and like, how'd you know to marry that one?
Right.
Or in some cases, how'd you know to divorce that one? But I knew I was going to do whatever it took to spend the rest of my life with Erin when I just woke up one day, and we weren't together. We weren't like we're living together or anything. I just woke up one day after seeing her the night before and could not imagine ever not waking up to have her in my life. And that was it. That was just it. It was like, there is no other future. Mm-hmm. And when you have that, you'll do what it takes, but most people get scared.
Right.
Most people get, and I can't speak for all men. I can only speak for myself. I had a lot of issues early on in my marriage feeling like a failure because I wasn't able to fully provide like I wanted to, because I was making mistakes and not owning up to them. I mean, I'm owning up to them in my head, but I'm fighting about them outside because I'm defensive. And I mean, those things have any human being, right? I imagine you ladies can give your perspective, obviously, but wouldn't you agree that it's not a man-woman thing? It's a human being thing to say, if I'm feeling less than for any reason, now I'm feeling like I'm not bringing enough to this relationship, and now that might lead me to walking out the door or stepping out on my partner because it's just shit rolls downhill.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole, like, feeling less than thing, I guess, like, I get to a degree, but stepping out on the relationship, like, as far as, like, maybe I'm not fit to be in a relationship right now, but I feel like cheating is more of, like, a morality thing sometimes.
Oh, it's absolutely a morality thing, yeah.
Justifying it.
Yeah.
Somehow. Oh, yeah.
I think the feeling inadequate is where the attention grabbing
right
come from too. Like somebody's laughing at all your jokes. You're so cute, ha ha ha, and it's like, I'm getting attention from this one. She's young, she's cute, whatever the case is. She's hot. I'm getting attention. I'm gonna take it.
And I think sometimes men and women both like confuse like what cheating is. Like it doesn't necessarily have to mean sex.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like, and I think that's like the biggest thing. I'm sure like a lot of us have like emotionally cheated before, and like not necessarily like noted it. You're like pouring your heart out to like another person, and then you're like not telling your partner about these things, and you're like, oh.
And next thing you know, you calling that person or texting that person or meeting up with them.
Right.
But the thing I say is, if you can't say it, it's if you kind of sneaking around basically doing it, it's wrong. Like if you can't say, I'm going to Cindy's house, you shouldn't be at Cindy's house then. Like like, and some guys are like, oh, she's just my friend. Well, if she's just my friend, A, why don't I know her? And B, why can't you just say, like,
right, that's my friend,
about any other friend? I'm going to the bar with so and so. It was the big deal. You can shorten
it up to, if you can't say it, you're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm. If you gotta hide it, it's wrong. Then that's just, some things are just black and white, and to me, that's black and white. If you wouldn't like it if I was doing it, it's wrong. And if you lying about it or sneaking around, it's wrong. And if it's a friend I've never met, it's wrong again. It's extra wrong. If your partner doesn't know this person, it's extra wrong. If you've never mentioned them, they've never seen them, heard of them, it's extra wrong. Like, you really shouldn't be engaging in.
You're talking about stepping out. You're talking about cheating's not always about sex. It's about, listen, what if, and this is just something that popped into my head here that I think you guys have helped me get there, is what if all cheating is about being heard? Because what is it with guys? April, you were talking about younger, hard, laughing at my jokes. What is he being? He's being heard. He's being made to feel special. Right. He's being, because he's doing this and she's getting him, right? She's hearing him. Women, 9 times out of 10, they cheat because of that attention. The husband's ignoring, or the boyfriend, or the girlfriend, whatever. And I'm a full supporter of LBT. I can't say it, but I support it.
LBGTQ.
I support everybody.
And what's the other new one?
I think IA.
IA, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah. So you aren't feeling heard at home, and then all of a sudden somebody's paying attention to you. They're making you feel better about yourself, and they're making you feel pretty or handsome or smart or funny. You're being heard. And then and I think, I'm making this up, so I don't have science to prove it, but I think women cheat sexually because they're heard, and now they're repaying the favor, if you will. The guy wants to get in their face. And the guys cheat because they're feeling heard, and it makes them feel strong and virile, and that's what guys want to do. So I don't know.
Feel important. Yeah.
Well, women are probably more appealed by the fact that a guy was like, oh, you look really good. Your hair looks really nice. You did something different with your hair. You have a new outfit. And that's kind of like turns into flirting, which then depending on the man, who's already overstepping boundaries, knowing that you're possibly married or within a relationship, then that could turn into like something physical. And at that point, she's gone home for 6 weeks in a row and her husband hasn't said shit to her about her new hair, her new outfits, or asked her how her day was. So she's like, I'm going to fuck Dan from accounting. Fuck this. Because
every day I walk up in there, Dan is on it.
Yeah, like Dan knows what's up. Apparently you don't, so.
Dan is like, is that Calvin Klein? Like,
and then that the level of destruction that is brought in with that decision, as opposed to what's the alternative, right? The alternative, which is just as hard, a difficult choice, is the fight. Do standing up and saying, this is what I want. No, this is what I deserve as a human being, as somebody who's a partner. And because you're afraid, what happens if they say, no? Do I not really deserve it? And then you question, and so then you cheat, but it still blows up. Right?
Yeah, eventually it's going to,
I think, if I remember stories right, Jen, you have, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. Have either one of you ever been cheated on?
Pretty sure I have. I just don't know if it was like irrelevant. Have I been cheated on, April? I just don't feel like it was like.
I don't know if it came out.
What? Which one?
Remember when you threw the camera?
Oh no, my ex-boyfriend from Brooklyn, who I refer to as Brooklyn, like he always was just like very like.
It might have been flirtation.
He was just like always very flirty with women.
It pissed you off when you saw
the
pictures.
Like I think but when I was dating him back then, he had like a picture of like he was giving some girl like a piggyback ride. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's.
I threw the camera at him. April was in the car.
I was like, oh.
But I mean, I'm sure I have been cheated on. I probably don't know about it, but not as like an adult.
Okay.
Not as an adult.
I thought you had a story about Brooklyn along those lines, but I guess I was a little off there. I haven't been cheated on either, and that's I'm trying to build. Mentally, I get to all these other little stories, but I'm getting to why I don't cheat. But it goes back to what we're saying. If you can do it in front of your significant other, you can do it anywhere. As the behavior change is the problem. And I'm a flirtatious guy, but I'm an entertainer by heart, by nature. That's what I was born to do. And so I don't just single out pretty girls. I don't just single out girls. I will flirt with everybody. Everybody likes to be made feel special.
Right.
And flirting can be all different levels. It's not just, hey, you looking good today. Although I'll definitely say that to guys who are homophobic because it makes them feel weird. But the best moment to prove that point was we'd had our second child at the time. I was working in an office, and my wife brought my toddler and the baby up to the office to show them off and this and that, and everybody's going on. And this girl who I flirted with, I flirted with a bunch of people, but she specifically, I flirted with more than others, I guess. She said, oh, you got beautiful kids. My wife's standing right there. She goes, you got beautiful kids. Like, hey, you remember that if you need children. You remember what I put out. And my wife just like, he's an idiot. She shook her head and laughed. And the girl's like, she was shocked. She thought my wife was going to turn around and punch her in the face and do all this dramatic TV stuff. I was like, no, because my wife knows, one, I'm full of shit. I would never do anything because I'll tell you why in a minute. She and I discussed it. She and I talked out why people cheat and why we wouldn't cheat and all this other stuff. And you make plans to avoid the problem. Instead of just hiding it and keeping secrets in your head and all that crap. But the other thing is, I did that with lesbians. I did that with straight guys. I mean, I will talk who I am all the time. And I make it clear that I love my wife and I'm loyal to my wife and, all of that stuff. But here's the story. Why you don't cheat. And this speech I've actually given to my 14-year-old, pretty much point blank, no holds barred. And I thought about this one night because you have to. You lead yourself into temptation, as you said earlier, or into traps or into problems. And you look up, how did I get here? You get here because you kept your head up your ass and didn't want to think, oh, this is a bad thought. I can't think about these things. And all of a sudden you're doing stupid shit and hurting your relationship. So I thought about it. And then my wife and I had a discussion, and we talked it out like adults and figured things out. And here's why you don't cheat. Because let's be real. And Jim and April, I know you can back me up on this. When you get, as the colloquially, I can't talk tonight. As people say, when you get strange, you do not last very long as a guy. It just ain't going to happen. You're talking about 5 minutes, right? 10 minutes. I'm not talking about the foreplay, all this other stuff. I'm talking about when you get down to it, you done. Because that's the whole point of the hotness and the cheating and the scandal. So, when you're in a relationship, why are you in the relationship? What is it you're getting out of it? What is it you're putting into it? Because it's a partnership. And you need to always be reevaluating these levels of partnership. And at the time that I actually thought it out of why I would or wouldn't do it or what would happen. And again, I could fall back onto my experience being on the ambulance, being, doing all that stuff going, well, I know I won't because I could have, right? By all society standards, things weren't happening at home. We were both stressed. We were fighting all the time. Here I am at an ambulance station in the middle of nowhere. Nobody knew the difference. I had all the opportunities in the world. Didn't care. All I cared about was what was going on at home, which made me very unattractive because all I'm doing is pouting and glooming and depressed all the time. But you could easily go the way. I mean, the opportunities were there. And I did. So I'm like, okay, I know I won't because I didn't, and I could have. But why won't I in the future? And it's because at that moment, and 5 years I think we've been together, I was like, you know what? I put Aaron through all of this bullshit, through all this then she did her part too. We were both partners in it. But I own my thing. And that's the thing. We don't own our decisions. And that's the key. You have to own that I am making this decision. I am hurting my significant other, just like I had to in that fight. And I had put her through all that, and she'd stayed with me. And even when she didn't believe in my music, she supported me. Even in the early days when I started doing podcasting and digital media, she didn't get it. She thought it was stupid, and she still supported it. And that's important because I want somebody who does believe in me, and she gets it now, and she sees I bring in income, and she sees all these accomplishments I've done over 14 years. I've been doing this now since it really started. But at the beginning, you can't see that it's going to happen. So it's whatever. But she supported it anyway. And I supported her and her things and all this other stuff. And I'm like, this is what I'm getting out of it. Everything else in my life that's important to me, that I want to do, stuff that other people don't get, that her parents did not understand, that my parents did not understand, thought we were stupid, and that she should leave me because I'm going to wreck them. They didn't see that no matter what happened in life, I always made sure she was taken care of first. That was always my goal, is to pay the bills first. Even when I couldn't, I tried. And she stood with me. So if we put in all that work and all that sacrifice, and all you got to do is just a little bit to get to that point, not nearly as much as we did, why would you get I'm going to be graphic here, and that is Bed Love Beyond. You'll typically handle that okay, but just warn your audience. Give me a 30-second bump. Why are you going to throw away everything you have in your life for getting your dick wet for 5 minutes?
It's a valid point. It's a very valid point. I mean, I just think that, in the moment, people don't think with the big head. They think with the little head. Or women, too. Their little head.
Sure.
And, it doesn't matter. And then there's, consequences and repercussions. And, it doesn't add up. But I totally agree with what you're saying, especially when you're in a long-term relationship and you took a long time to, build it. It doesn't make sense to just knock it all down for something that could have been communicated upon. And if you feel like your woe is not worthy of communication or has been communicated 1,000 times, leave. I'd rather someone leave without communication than cheat on me.
I get that. I
think too, the mountain of lies that come with it. I was here, I was there, I work late. I think the lying really gets you, because now it's I don't believe anything you say.
Right.
I went to the grocery store. No, you didn't. It turns into, everything you say is a lie now. Now nothing can be trusted now.
And nobody wants to live a relationship like that. Mm-hmm. I got you on Find My Friends. I saw where you were going. I asked my boyfriend to put the Life 360 app on his phone. He's like, no, too invasive. And it's not because I don't trust him. It's just instead of me calling him and asking him, are you almost home yet? I can just track him on the phone. I can be like, oh, he's pulling down the street. Let me not bother him. Or his train's late. He's still on the train. He's like, no, it's invasive. And it is invasive. I mean, my mom's like, Jasmine was doing 90 miles an hour today. I was like, damn. I'm like, Jasmine also drives in an ambulance. She's an EMT. So that's why they were doing 90 miles an hour. Somebody was probably dying. But yeah, I mean, that's no way to have a relationship.
Possibly, yeah.
I mean, my niece, who has the 360 app, made her wife put it on her phone. And she was like, Sarah was doing this today. Sarah was here. Sarah was there. And then the wife was just like, I don't like this. I was like, this is going to be a problem. But, no. I mean, they trust each other.
There's something to say about ignorance is bliss sometimes.
Yeah. But I would rather you either sit down and have a conversation with me or just leave and then find out that you were with somebody else than actually cheat. Even though if you were with somebody right after me, I probably wouldn't believe you that you didn't cheat. But I mean,
yeah, and that's the thing. Talking about evasiveness, I honestly have no idea why. I will tell my wife anything, everything. I'll show her anything she wants to see. I don't mess around with other women. I don't go online and download pictures of other women and stuff. And I find beauty in everything. Mm-hmm. And I make sure, on my Instagram feed, there's some big girls on there. That's my style. But I make sure, like, if my wife opened this up and saw it, how would she feel about it?
Right.
And she might, because of who she is and how she instantly gets insecure sometimes, she might feel bad. But I would quickly point out, they look like you. It's just a thing. It's not a big deal. And then she told me she didn't like it. Done. I killed a podcast network I was building one time because she needed me to stop. And I was like, it came down, and she didn't put an ultimatum. She didn't say, you choose me or get out. She said, we got in a fight, and I asked her flat out, what do you want me to do? And she basically wanted me to choose one show and stop. And she was right, because in hindsight, I was doing all this horrible stuff. I was building a house using, a car instead of tools.
Right.
And it was totally the wrong way to do things, and it was stressing her out. So just being clear, but I changed my code. And actually, if she does listen to this, she'll get the secret. But I changed my code to her birthday. There used to be these other set of numbers, and she used to be able to open my phone. And I can tell you, she trusts me. She doesn't put any tracking out. She didn't, all that. But when I see her on my phone without asking me, there's something there. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you looking at my phone? She's like, what are you trying to hide? I'm like, I had to think about that. Well, I'm not trying to hide anything. There's just something that doesn't feel right about you just looking at my phone.
It's the same thing with if a man was going through a woman's pocketbook. If a man's going through, it's like, why are you going in a pocketbook? Oh, I needed a pin. It's like, oh, okay.
Did you?
Well, why are you in there? Just ask me for the pin. It's just weird when somebody's looking through your stuff. It's just weird, like.
Yeah, I learned not to do that. I mean, I don't know. I know the code to my boyfriend's phone, but I don't know. Like, I trust him, but
you track him.
something. No, he won't let me track him. But sometimes I feel like things happen, and then like it's like, oh, well, why was that person calling you today? But it probably wasn't like a huge deal. Some things I feel like should be brought up. Some things like, probably aren't a big deal, and then you make them a big deal in your head, and then it turns into a fight. So it's not always worth all the investigation. And if you feel like you have to do all those kind of investigations, then it's exhausting too. But I feel like, for me, I wouldn't cheat because I wouldn't want to be cheated on. And because of what you said before, the truth of the matter is that's going to terminate the relationship. And it's a shit show out there. Like, no, I don't want to go back on OkCupid or Hinged or whatever the new ones are now, or Bagel Meets Coffee or whatever that shit is. I just don't want to do it.
And I think being that we got involved in that when it first started, it's a different ball game now. It's another level now. It's not the same dating sites and apps. It's taken to another level, I feel like.
There's a lot of catfishing going on.
Mm-hmm. And so here's the thing, right? This is what you have to gauge with. Is it better to go out on my own and don't worry about relationships, but is it better for me to leave this relationship to work on myself and be alone, or possibly just have friends, family, whatever, but to not be in a relationship? Is that better than staying? You need to know the answer to that.
Right.
Is it better to leave this relationship and face what you're talking about? Because I was the same way. My wife and I watched some show the other night, and I don't remember if the significant other died or they got divorced, but they were in their 40s, and I'm 41, and I'm like, holy shit, after 20 years of being with the same person, I don't even know where the fuck I'd start in this day and age.
Yeah.
Meeting people. So you measure that. Never to stay with somebody because it's easy. And that's the thing. Life is not easy. You got to work for what you want. And that's what I'd say. I'd rather, Jen, you said, I'd rather you leave with no communication than cheat on me. And I get that 100%. Personally, I would encourage people to do everything you can to understand what the relationship is, and then understand, is that what you want? I think everybody can relate to a generic story of going into a store and wanting to buy one thing and getting sold something else that you don't fully understand, and the salesperson said it was great, and you take it home and you're left with something you don't understand that doesn't do what you wanted to do. You can either learn how to do it, you can do what most people do, which is just bitch about it, leave it in the corner and let that money burn and go get something else, or you can take it back and force somebody to step up for what they're doing. And that's what a long relationship is is understanding what it is going, because if my wife had said, you know what, in that moment, in that fight and all that jazz, when I said, what do we do now? If she had said, I need some time alone, maybe we try a separate break or whatever. Whatever she said, I would have said yes. And I would have just dealt with the consequences because I could not put her through that anymore. I had burned all the energy off. And the thing that damage that popped in my mind a while back is controlled burns, right? Forestry burns. Is a lot of times you have places that will cut the grass and will maintain things, and it's fine. But every once in a while, scientists know how to go out and start a burn. It's called a control burn. They burn sections of forest and wilderness down so that it can grow back fresh. And so that once it's burned down, you actually see what is going on there, right? The trees don't burn down. The wildlife doesn't get killed. It's just all the bad stuff that's blocking your vision of what's going on. And I always encourage people, I hope you don't do it my way, which was an uncontrolled burn, but we burned all that other crap that's in our heads, that's in our baggage, and it was gone. And now we're just, for the first time, honestly looking at each other, saying, is this who we are together? Is this who we are separated? And what do we want to do about it? And obviously, once we could see the real playing field, we stuck together, we worked it out, we moved forward. But if you're worried that you've got to track your woman or your man, if you're worried that you need to go through their phones, talk to them. If you're not getting laid enough, talk to them. If you're getting, if you're not going out on the town and being shown off, talk to them, because it's hard to talk to them. And yeah, there can be a fight, there can be ugliness, and yeah, they might gaslight you and make you feel like shit. But you got to keep trying, because either you're going to realize real quick, wait a minute, they still never answer my question. Every time I bring up, hey, babe, how come we don't get dressed up and go out to dinner, and they get mad at me or put something off or have an excuse.
Right.
That's them telling you who they are. That's when educated decisions, right? That's when you leave.
I always recommend to some of the families that I work with that are having marital issues, if you feel like you can't talk to your partner, to write things in a journal and read it to them, because some people really don't know how to face somebody and say, it upsets me that you said this, or it upsets me that you did that. So sometimes I say, write it down. I mean, and I am an advocate for therapy. I know it's not always readily available to everyone, and it's fucking expensive. But I mean, it's always an option. Honestly, me and Martini started talking about the and on the show, and me and April have talked about it too. That card game is a conversation starter, and you pull a card, you ask a question to your partner, and it starts a conversation. And maybe it's not the and, maybe it's something you find online to questions to ask your partner to start conversations. But even if you start talking about one thing and then it kind of brings up other things, I think I told a story once that I was watching TV with Brooklyn, and it was a dating show, and the therapist said, oh, the girl should know all the names of the other women in your phone. They should have been introduced to her. And it was mind-blowing to him that I should have met all his female friends from New York. He's was I supposed to bring you to Brooklyn and introduce you to everybody? I'm yeah. You were. And he sat there dumbfounded. It never happened, and it doesn't matter now. But
he actually wasn't on the normal spectrum. Man.
No. I mean, he's still debating about whether he's happy or not. He has a kid. But
so here's what I went through. Cause when I was dating my wife, it was early 2000. It was year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Year 2000. That's Conan, old school Conan, by the way. For everybody thinks I'm just weird.
Go for it.
I mean, I am, but that was an actual reference. We didn't have the cell phones. We barely had pagers at that time. And I was always more comfortable hanging out with girls than guys, typically. I'm very much an alpha male. I hate being challenged. As far as masculinity, I mean, I'm not a masculine guy. I'm not, I never really played sports all that much. But it's one of those things of, if I'm going to relax, I need to be able to relax and not have some guy try to make me prove my toughness kind of thing. So I always liked hanging out with females. And what I found interesting was they were my friends, absolutely. But the moment I started dating her, by no request of hers, by no action that I thought I should do, I really stopped hanging out with them. I really stopped texting them, and because I just wanted to spend all my time with her. And the few guy friends I had, same thing. And I actually had some female friends like, we never hang out. Why is it? Since you started dating her, I don't like that girl. You started dating her. She made you leave all your friends. I went, no. I mean, you're still cool and all. She's really cool. So sorry. I mean, this is my thing right now. Yeah, man. I can't imagine hearing your stories, Jen. And I haven't heard as many of yours, April, but Jen just shared all her shit on the show. I'm just saying.
It was my free therapy.
I just totally came out differently. So I cannot imagine dating somebody who possibly had 20, 30 women in his phone and feeling the need to introduce you to all of them. But he shouldn't be afraid to, right? He's with you. Sure. You want to meet him? We'll go. I don't know why you want to do that, but sure, we'll go do that. I mean, it's not necessarily doing the action. It's being willing to do the action that matters.
Because I think if somebody is truly your friend, like I would call this person if I'm in trouble.
Right.
I call this person, before I met you, I call this person. It's not that I'm not going to
for advice
talk to you, but I mean, this is my true friend. We go out for drinks. We go to each other's house on holidays or birthdays or whatever. I'm okay with that. If that's your real friend, let's hang out then. Let's all hang out.
Yeah.
Like it should. It doesn't matter what gender the person is. It's the dynamics of the relationship. If y'all are truly friends and this person been there for you, that person should stay your friend. It's just when you don't want somebody to meet the person, that's when it gets
weird.
Even if it's a guy friend, I don't want you to meet any of my guy friends. Well, why?
Right.
Like if he's truly your friend and he's there for you and y'all real friends, what's the problem? I mean. I don't think a guy would be afraid of another guy's taking his girlfriend, but if you're scared they're gonna flirt or whatever, they're not real friends. Like your real guy friend shouldn't be flirting with your girlfriend either. So
right, true.
Even if it's a guy friend, I'm like, why wouldn't you want me to meet your friends? Like either gender, it's weird. But you had a good point with the therapy when you said like going to therapy because. Like a lot of people say, I don't know what to do. I don't know why this is happening. Even when it comes to like bringing baggage, like a lot of things we talked about in the beginning of the show leads to cheating. Like baggage and things you've been through and your experiences, all that could kind of lead up to it. And it's like sometimes if you don't know, go find out. Like go to a therapist, go to the bookstore, Google it, do something. But instead of saying you don't know, effort. Go find out. Like sometimes you gotta go. Like when my kid, he stopped now, but when he wouldn't stop throwing shit, I'm like, what the fuck? Why won't this kid? I Googled it. Why do toddlers throw shit? I Googled it. Like he was driving me nuts. Like why won't he sleep more than Why won't he go to sleep at 9:00? Well, these people got sleep schedules. This kid sleep schedule my ass. This kid it's like full throttle at 11:30. I Googled it. I'm like, instead of me sitting up here saying I don't know why he sleeps, I don't know why, I just look it up. And it's the same thing in a relationship. If you don't understand why something is happening, read about it.
Make an effort.
Google it. Do something. It's like the Ian Van Zant, the life coach and motivational speaker, told this woman on her show, everything he did, you did it too. And the woman didn't necessarily cheat, but what she meant was when he yelled, you yelled back. When he walked off, you walked off too. When he got defensive, you got defensive back. So it's like y'all modeled each other's behavior. So if this thing is going downhill, it's going downhill because of both of you. Maybe you didn't physically cheat like he did, but it's like it still took two people to get this to where it is.
Right.
So it's like you didn't try to fix it. He didn't try to fix it. You didn't try to fix it either. Y'all both just kept on with the same toxic behavior. So sometimes it's like let me do something to try to stop this. Let me not continue to.
And be honest about it.
Yeah.
Don't be like, oh, I did this thing and I tried. Like, well, okay, did you do this thing because you thought it would help the marriage, or you're brutally honest and was just laying the cards on the table? Or did you do this thing thinking that is what you would want, and when they didn't respond the way you would respond, then it's just done? Because that's the tough one. right? We all try to communicate. Going back to that communication, we all say things the way we hear it, and then you get that negative response, and you're like, why are you so crazy? Why are you doing that shit? And it's because everybody's different, you know?
So, Charles,
and your crazy's got to match their crazy.
What would be your final statement about temptation and how to keep yourself right in a relationship? Like, what would be your advice to the listeners?
You got to love yourself first. I mean, that's just.
It's so funny that all these cliche sayings that we were like, God, that's so cliche. Like, communication is key. Love yourself first. Like, it sounds so stupid, but people kept saying those things because it's so legit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm an active advanced EMT. I was a paramedic at one point. I teach EMTs how to do the job in the field now. But the number one rule of emergency medicine is take care of yourself first. Is to make sure where you're going into is safe and that you have your protective equipment on. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot help others. And that is true across the board 1,000%. As a parent, as a husband, a wife, a human being, you have to take care of yourself. So if you hate something about yourself, you'll never be fully happy in a relationship. You can be happily married for 40 years, 50 years, 100 years, but you'll never be truly to your happy potential if you don't take care of yourself first. And how many relationships cheat or fail that they blame the other person, but it's really because they weren't happy with themselves. You know?
Deep stuff.
It sucks. And I do want to touch on therapy for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs help sometimes. I went through therapy. There are apps out there. There are definitely podcasts and YouTube channels and motivational stuff you can watch and learn. There's all forms of therapy. And if you ever have anybody tell you therapy is for the weak, let me tell you about Katrina. When Katrina hit New Orleans and destroyed the French Quarter and destroyed the Fourth Ward and all that jazz, it was easy to leave. It was easy for people to evacuate. And I'm not, this isn't an analogy. This is not a literal thing. I'm not mocking people for leaving. You need to leave or you're going to die. But in that situation. But it was easy to leave. It's hard to rebuild it.
Yeah.
That's what therapy is. Therapy is taking away all the weather damage, all that flooding, cleaning up the mess to finally go, okay, now what do we build inside of you so you can go forward? After that fight, when we went to couples counseling, and we went to 2 sessions together, and my wife's like, that's not for me. And I went, okay, I really wish you would go, because I kept thinking, you need help too. But the reality was, I could only worry about myself and fix myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a whole year alone in therapy. And at the end of that year, I got better. It put me on the right path. I kept exercising those principles I learned. And I realized it wasn't for her. At that moment in time, she didn't need that kind of thing. She needed me to deal with my crap, so I'd stop putting my crap on her. But the one thing is, take care of yourself. You got to love yourself, and you've got to talk about it.
It's a heavy burden to put on somebody to make you happy.
It's an impossible burden.
Because then it means that when you're sad, it's their fault too. People
Yeah.
only say happy, make me happy. I'm not happy. But when you sad, it comes across as, well, that's my fault too then. If you're not happy, what did I do?
And the truth... Yeah, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Charles.
The truth is, you're right. The truth is, Joe Vitale, I think it is, co-authored a book called Returning to Zero, or Zero Power, something like that. Something about zero. And it was based on this Hawaiian philosopher they met, this and that and other. But the short gist of it is, we live in circles, right? Venn diagrams. And like right now, as the 3 of us are together recording this, we're part of each other's solutions. We're part of each other's problems. Whether I brought the problems to the table or you brought it to the table, we're in this together right now. So that means we're part of the solution together. Now, when we part, and this is a very quick and easy analogy right here, but that's what it is. So whether or not you actually have anything to do with that person being happy, you can take the blame, sure, or you can help be part of that solution. And that's what I heard in your explanation in the last episode. It wasn't the last episode you did, Jen. It was the last episode I heard where you're talking about your boyfriend going to therapy and having to talk to his mom. You're being a part of the solution by being patient, by not hanging not hanging your entire hat on, well, if you don't want to marry me, you don't love me.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously feel loved, or you wouldn't still be there, I don't think. But you're being a part of that solution. But if you didn't do that, you're part of the problem. I mean, that's unfortunately the reality of how humans work. And choose the solution. Choose to help other than man, blame does no good on anybody. Blaming yourself, blaming others, taking responsibility means you can fix it.
Right. Well, thank you, Charles. This has actually been very fun and informative. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Where can everybody find you? Oh, do you have any other questions, April?
No.
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand.
No. Stretching.
I'm like, oh, April's raising her hand. Where can everybody find you?
Rock Out of Podcasting all across social media. CharlesMcfall.com has some of our professional stuff on there. Giant Size Team Up, like I mentioned before, has a dozen different shows. I'm only on like 2 or 3 of them, so most of them are other people.
Mm-hmm.
But it has a bunch of shows about fandom. If you're a geek about anything, you're passionate about anything in the world of fandom, then
I'm going to send my boyfriend over there, because if I have to watch one more goddamn Avengers movie, I'm going to scream. I sat in the theater for 3 hours. I was like, oh, God. I won't spoil it. No. They are good movies. They're good movies. But, like, I just don't have the passion that the people in that theater had on opening night. I just don't. I've never... Yeah. I felt like I was at a WWE match. I was like... They were like... Yeah! Like, it was like... Iron Man came on the screen. They were losing their shit. I was like, oh, my God. What is happening right now? They were cheering. They were booing. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is not movie theater behavior, people. But yeah, I'm gonna send him over to I'm gonna send him over to there because he's always like looking up like, you know, where the little Easter eggs are and all that other shit. So
now, if you want to catch me in real life, I'll be at MomoCon in Atlanta, Memorial Day weekend. Atlanta Comic Con, obviously in Atlanta, July 13th, 14th, and 15th, somewhere in there, and Dragon Con at Labor Day weekend.
All right.
So, doing all live shows and that kind of thing. April, where can I find you? Because I don't know. That's one thing I don't know.
I'm trying to. I haven't really been putting too much on my other pages, but I want to start putting more energy toward our Bed Love Beyond blog. So I want to start posting articles, little blog posts there.
Well, what's the last name of your last blog?
It was Truth Complex. I don't post anything on there.
Yeah.
But I really want it to be on the Bed Love Beyond blog.
Okay.
So
maybe we could transfer it over.
Yeah.
Copy paste
keep checking on that, and we're gonna have some stuff up on there, some blog posts and stuff.
We're in the works of trying to write a book. It's just a matter of like balancing life.
Yeah.
But we want to get it done. We have a lot of shit to say, and it should be in print. Damn it.
Well, follow our Facebook page, and we'll share the WordPress link for some blog posts we're gonna start putting up on Bed Love Beyond.
I had a whole blog post about how I didn't know how to use a tampon. Apparently, people liked it. I don't know.
On the Bed Love Beyond?
Yeah, you missed it?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Oh, my God. I put a whole post up about how I'm 40 years old and I'm on vacation and I don't know how to use a tampon. And I was, like, so ashamed of myself.
And you found that you're not the only one in the world.
No, apparently people were, like, right on. Like, I mean, no one wrote, of course, no one comments. Guys, come on, comment a little bit. Just a little. Some human interaction. But people liked it. Yeah, people like the honesty. And I was like, oh, good. Maybe there's somebody out here who can actually teach me how to do this at 40. So, yes, guys, please follow Charles. It's always a pleasure having you. We're everywhere at Bed Love Beyond. You guys know the email. You guys know the phone number. And that's it.
Thank you, Charles.
Peace.